Gonzaga College High School is a very, very special place.
When people ask what school you went to, I'm incredibly proud to say Gonzaga.
Gonzaga has given us much more than we've given to Gonzaga, is the bottom line.
There is a joy and a community here that you can really feel.
When you can help a boy discover his gifts and talents and in relationship with God, discern a direction of where to go with that, it's more than just an education.
I don't want that to ever stop, ever.
The entire Gonzaga community buys into our mission, and that is really forming that young man into a man for others, putting our values first and letting those values inform who we become and what we do with our gifts and talents.
Making men for others in the Jesuit tradition. To go out and have a meaningful impact on their communities is something the school's been doing for 200 years. And if we can establish something that continues that legacy for Gonzaga, in our view, that's a tremendous investment.
We are all stewards in this world, and that means not only taking but also giving.
The real importance of this Forever Gonzaga Society, for me personally, I think back to my first years here, and one of the first major gifts that we received in my time as president was from someone from the class of 1937 who had just passed away, and in his estate left us a significant gift which these years later continues to support a number of boys on I Street. Thankfully, all those years ago, this gentleman decided that he wanted to leave his mark on Gonzaga, and he definitely has. And there are boys here who will never know him, never know who he was, but they have him to thank for their I Street experience, and that's a blessing that just keeps giving.
Estate planning, a big part of that is the word planning. It doesn't just happen, and it's not something most people enjoy thinking about, but it's critically important, but it's also incredibly personal. Every person has to sort of think about that in their own way and in their own time. What our experience is the sooner you start, the better off you are.
If you don't have an estate plan in place, it creates a lot of problems. It's something that you want to deal with early because things are going to change in your life, and you can always change your estate plan.
As we got up into middle age and older, we are older. We felt, how are we going to divide up this estate? And obviously Gonzaga was right near the top because of all the things that they have given to us.
You're taking your life's assets. You want to make sure that where you're putting them is where there's going to be a big impact.
The whole premise behind Forever Gonzaga is sustaining the school, and the way you sustain the school is through building an endowment that allows us to make sure that the price of tuition is at a level that's affordable to anybody who is qualified to come here.
What most people don't realize is that when we accept a student, we process our applications not knowing whether or not the student can pay. Financial assistance comes later. So once we accept our students and they say, yeah, I want to come, the next question is, now how do we pay for this? Because a lot of them can't afford it, and a full third of them can't. And the importance of the estate gifts for us is that's what makes the difference in our ability to let that group of kids in and to say, we've accepted you, you've accepted us, we're going to make it work. And without the estate gifts, we couldn't do that, and Gonzaga would look very different from the kind of school it is today.
We know that people invested in Gonzaga long before we ever got here, and we hope to be able to pass on that same blessing to generations we will never know.
Gonzaga is about to turn 200, and the reason the institution is really firing on all cylinders at this point is because every generation has done their part to contribute to this extraordinary institution. It's time for us in this generation to do our part and make sure that we're providing Gonzaga with all the resources it needs to carry forth this beautiful mission of God's here on I Street. So I would call everyone to consider this, to think about it, to pray about it, and to hopefully find a place in your heart and your plans to remember Gonzaga so that 200 years down the road, people will be thanking our generation for what they are still enjoying and celebrating and living here on I Street.